Violet Delights is a new collection from our friends at Hunky Dory, and you can see all the beautiful things here. And Heidi has been having a wonderful time getting ready for this webisode. So won't you please come play with us? Well, before we get into the projects and before I tell you about this one, let me just show you. So we've got Violet Delights. This is the luxury card kit, and that has 74 foil die cuts. Foil cardstock and printed cardstock. We've got 6x6 paper pad, the 30-piece adorable scoreable collection of solid papers. We have inserts. We also have, one of my favorite things is the luxury foiled acetate, and there is also a Violet Delights concept card, and I'll show you that at the end. Okay, well, let's get this over and get started and see what wonderfulness Heidi has been creating for you. And we'll get in closer just so that you can see it much better. And this card started out as a 5 by 6.5 inch card, but Heidi cut it down to 5 inches square. So that is the beginning. Let me open this just because I want you to see that this has a window, and she has used some of the acetate on the window. Okay, so we've got the 5 by 5 card, and then what she has done is she has taken the adorable scoreable and she has matted the pink, as you can see, onto the lavender, and so that creates the base. Now what she did is then she used our circle cutting dies to cut out a circle, but the other way you can do it is you can, now we love for you to use our dies, but just in case you want another option, this is the die, or excuse me, this is the cutout, pop out that Heidi used, and you can see, well, hopefully you can see, there's 1, 2, 3 layers. So there's the circle there, there's a frame here, and then there is another frame right there, okay? So what Heidi did is she used the smallest one as kind of a stencil, and then you can cut that out, or as I said, you can use the 12 circles and scallop cutting dies. So she's got that on there, and then she cut that out so to make room for this, and then she put a piece of the acetate. Now this is the one that she used. Let me get it on the black so you can really see. This is an all over dot, just really a nice look. And so she put a square of that right on top of that evacuated circle. Now, the centerpiece is going to go on the inside. We're not going to look at that yet. We're going to go with the 2 frames on the outside. So those 2, she simply glued to the front of her card, right around that window and right on top of the acetate and on top of the matted cardstock. Okay, very, very simple, very nice to make a window. And then the Let's Catch Up Soon, that was foam taped on the side. And then, of course, she went into our purple ribbon set to add a little bow right there. She zotted it right in place. Now, for the inside of her card, she used the same adorable scoreable, so put that down first. And then she did another piece of that dotted acetate. Now, how do you make that stay in place? Well, what Heidi recommends is go ahead and cut it to fit, and then put adhesive just in the center, okay? That way it's going to be covered up with this circle die cut. So you don't have to worry. Let me see, lift this for you. So you can see this isn't attached on the corners, but it works just fine. And I highly recommend the extra sticky tape to go there because it will really work well on slick surfaces. Then she glued this one in place, being sure that when she closed this, that was centered, okay? And then finally, there is another little of the adorable scoreable foil die cuts right there, the Just For You, and another little ribbon from the purple ribbon set, and just a really sweet, sweet card. Don't you think? I love the foiled acetate. My favorite thing. Now, her second card is this. As you can see, it is a slimline card. Now, you can do your own slimline out of white cardstock, but we also have ours where they're already cut, the envelopes are there, and it's all set for you. But what Heidi has done is she's taken this, this length of the card, and she has made it into a kind of two different pieces. So up here, this is going to become an easel card. Down here, it's kind of a regular card. But isn't that clever? I don't think I've seen anybody do that yet. So this is neat. So you start with just your basic slimline, just like so. And the measurements are down below in the gallery. As you know, that's where we have all the complete instructions. And this has been cut. So you're just going to cut it like so. Notice it's not in the middle. It is so that this will create a square. So it's a little under 3.5 inches long, okay, which is the same width as the card. Now, the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to score it. So once you get that cut right to the fold, then we're going to score in half from the upper right to the lower left, okay? That score line will enable us to fold our card. Okay, so then Heidi has us cutting another piece of, in fact, let me get it out here for you. This is out of the topper set. Isn't that pretty with those butterflies fluttering? This piece, she cut a square a little bit smaller than this piece and then cut it diagonally. That way she has two triangles to fit on each piece. And notice she allowed the card to be the white mat around all of her papers. So that worked nicely. Now this piece, and let me show you this is the sheet out of the topper set. So this is hope you have a wonderful day. Well, that's what she's placed right here. Now she did mat it on one of the darker pinks that is out of the Adorable Scoreable. Just like all of the easel cards, you need to attach the bottom of this to the bottom of your card front, okay? And that way it will be able to open. But when you see it, it looks like it's attached. So that's the magic of it. Now down here, she did something a little bit different. So she took the same paper, the one that I just showed you with those butterflies, and she cut it a little bit smaller than this area. Then she took her ribbon. Now she's using that same ribbon set. This is the purple. And she wrapped a piece around here. Didn't go all the way, just cut it a little bit longer than that paper, tucked the ends underneath and glued them down. Did the same thing down here. And then she foam taped a matted topper, so this particular one, and foam taped it in place, and then zotted a bow in place. Now inside, she's got, again, one of the toppers, happens to be this one, and she used the topper and then the next frame, that silver frame, and let that be together, and then added one of the little circle ones, foam taped that in place, and a little bow. Now at the top, as you saw, she needed something to hold that easel in place. So, clever woman, she used the three little circle butterflies and foam taped those in place. And I just love the idea that if you have this card, you've kind of got two cards in one, and I think it's just really a nice look. Very, very fun. Okay, let's get into our next card, and I'll bring it right here. Now, we've talked about the specialty things that Hunky Dory does, and one of the things that they do are card inserts. And I have to tell you, it was a little while before we started buying them, but then when I saw what the design team was doing them, I thought, well, Paulette, what were you thinking? I should have bought them earlier. Now we buy them with every collection. And you can see that the insert is a ghosted back image. It's kind of like it's a foggy image of the artwork that is in the topper collection. Now in this case, Heidi has taken this image and she has matted it on the Adorable Scoreable, the lavender color. And then she also took another piece of the a foiled acetate, and I just love this. Now you might think that, you know, gosh, how come you only get the edges, you don't get the center part? Well, here's the reason. Because when this is placed over, well, I guess I should show you the card. When it's placed right there, you really don't want anything going on because you want to be able to see that image behind it. So it's an accent, and that's how I think of it. So really nice. Now, just like the acetate that we attached on the first card, you're going to want to put your adhesive on the back of the foiled piece and just attach it to your card, and that will work perfectly. It's not going to come off. You don't have to worry that it isn't attached everywhere. Just that one strip will take care of it, and it will disappear behind the artwork that's right there. Works really nicely. Now, as I'm holding this up, you can see that that ribbon was zotted on top of the acetate, whereas right here there is one of the foil die cuts, Thinking of You, was glued on top of the insert. Okay, and just notice, I just want to point this out to you, because she started cutting her insert over at the edge of it and she matted it, that purple doesn't extend all the way to the edge of the card, all the way to the fold. It just stops midpoint, and that works just fine. Now on the inside, she has taken the other side of this insert, glued it down here, and notice on the front of her card, she used the foiling to go vertically. There you go, up and down, vertically. On the inside, she turned it to go horizontally. Well, that's kind of nice because you've got pieces left that you can use elsewhere. That works well. Now, right here, you can see that she took another of the foiled pieces and she added another bow. Now, on the front of this, it says Thinking of You, but right here, she wanted to add a special greeting, and just because. Now, this is out of the More Greetings Dazzle. So this is black, white, gold, and silver, and you can see the silver beautifully coordinates with the silver foiling on the acetate. And you're going to do the same thing about attaching this. Attach it so that, let me hold this up for you, that it is attached behind that topper right there. So you can just put the glue there. If you want to, you can attach this to your acetate and then place it down and then lift it back up and put the extra sticky tape underneath it. So that way it's going to stay in your card. And again, you don't have to worry about attaching every square inch of it. It works very, very nicely. Okay, I have another card for you, and this is something else that's different going along with our slimline cards. Now, Heidi has taken the slimline and turned it horizontally, which is perfectly fine. And then she's also done a couple of different things. Now, actually, you see the two buttons and you see this jute. And let me untwirl it. And this is going to open, and this is going to open. So look at that. Very different, wouldn't you say? Now, in order to achieve this, you're going to need 2 slimline cards. Well, that works because our package has 10 of them. And the way we have it in the directions, I'm going to place one with the fold at the top, right there. I'm going to place the other one with the fold at the bottom, like that. And then what I'm going to recommend is that you glue the inside of this to the inside of that, just like that. That way you can do this trick, okay? Now Heidi, after gluing those together, is going to do a couple of other things. Let me bring the card back in and I'll tell you about the first step. The first step is that she took this top part and she folded it in half. So she took this and folded it, and actually, there you go, like so. Then this, and I apologize for not scoring that first, that is going to become the flap at the top. And it's extra sturdy because you're going to glue that together. Now, as I'm saying this, yes, that's exactly what she did. So she folded it in half and glued it to itself. Then you still have this flap at the bottom, which is what you're going to want. Okay. Now let's focus on this flap and this flap because that's what you're going to see. Now what Heidi did is she took her adorable scorable, and I'm pulling out some pieces here. They are white on the back side but they are printed on the front side. So she's going to take, or she took the blue and cut it to fit. Now notice that when she cut it, now again, the measurements are in the gallery, so you don't have to worry about measurements at this moment, or kind of the concept of it. So she cut this piece, and when she glued it flush with the opening edge. Notice there's white, the white card is showing on all three sides, but she let that go right to the edge, okay? She did the same thing on the inside. Same thing with the blue, cut it to the measurement in the gallery, and then glued it so that the edge of the blue is equal and flush to the opening edge of the card. Okay, she did that on both pieces. Now, getting to this piece, let me show you where that comes from. And it's going to come from the 6x6 Violet Delights. Now, here is the sheet, and these sheets are double-sided, so I'm going to show you that. But she used this one on the front, like so, and then the other edge on the bottom, like so. So you're getting both of those out of one piece of paper. That's not bad. Now notice she matted it on the pinks. You've already seen the pinks, and you get 3 sheets of each color, so you've got plenty of them. So she matted it there. She did the same thing. She's got the paper edge equal to the edge of the card on the top and on the inside. Same thing. It's right equal to it, okay? So that took care of. So this is a bit smaller than what you might think. Now, the other thing that she added comes from our engraved dazzles. This is the borders and corners engraved. Now, if you haven't seen these, let me get this package open. And these, I think these are wonderful. And I know that, I think this is the first time Heidi has used them. And they come in gold and silver. So there's the gold. There's the silver. What is unique about them, and the reason why they're called engraved, is that they're foiled with much detail, and they are printed on a transparent sheet. So it's a transparent, which means that you can put them on anything and the color of the paper will show, just like the butterflies are right here. And you can see there's a gazillion in here. So she has taken the butterflies, put them there, and these are some other elements. You can see on the sheet that there's some extra pieces. She's placed them at the corners. Okay. She zodded on the buttons. Now the buttons come from the Hunky Dory button assortment. This is the purple assortment. You get a whole bunch of them there. And before she zodded them in place, or actually she foam taped them in place, she did something that Susan Cobb initiated with us years ago. She cut a sliver, just a sliver, about a 1/16 of an inch, in this case, of the cardstock, and threaded a little piece through her buttons to make them look like they're stitched, okay? And that's just a nice piece. Now those two are going to hold the jute that she is going to use to do the securing of her card. And the jute, of course, comes from our jute twine. Now this has got 72 inches of each of the jute, so there's just plenty. And she cut a long length, and then she knotted it around the lower button, and then she would simply zigzag it to hold that closed. And you really don't have to make this too long, because you can just see it's going to hold it very nicely with just a few inches of that jute. Okay, now let's go to the inside of her card. And what's interesting, I'm going to focus on this part right here first. And this is going to be first covered with the adorable scorable, not this color, but the more purple color. I think we saw that earlier. And notice that on the front, as you remember, she has the white all the way around on 3 sides, not on all 4 sides, just 3. Here, she does kind of a little variation. She's got the adorable scorable just resting inside that section. So you're just going to cut that. Now, where do you get this image? Well, remember we used this on the front of the card. Well, on the back side of it, there is this image. And it just is a really pretty kind of area for what your greeting is going to be. Just really, really nice. So this was cut matted on white. The white is in the Adorable Scorable. And then she's added some dazzles. Now these dazzles are out of Everyday Greetings. So this is going to have thank you, best wishes, just because, hello, hi, thinking of you, and get well soon. Black, white, gold, and silver. So she's added that there. More of the engraved dazzles on each corner. So that does a nice job. Now for these two areas, well, she has gone into the inserts. That's right. This is an insert sheet. I'll show it to you. It's got cupcakes right there, but the border area is right here. And because you get multiples of these in the collection, you're good to go. So what she has done is, let's see, let me turn it like this. You can see how she cut it and then matted it again on that same purple, added the butterflies and placed it on the bigger flap. On the smaller flap, well, she just cut it. Let's see, let me turn it this way. There you go. And you can see that she just trimmed right along that border and matted it and placed it on the top. So just worked really, really well. So the big flap in, the top flap down, a little zigzag of the jute, and you are set. Now, there is something else, and that's what I began with. And there is this. This is the Violet Delights Concept Card Collection. And what it makes is a beautiful box card. Now you can make 8 different cards with this collection. And I just wanted to show you briefly. Now, if you go to the product page at paperwishes.com, I'll walk you through the steps of making this. But I wanted to show it to you in this collection because it does match all of the Violet Delights. Now what you get, well, let me show you what you end up with. You end up with a card that has a box on top of it, and then you can just make it very special with all the things that you do. The foiling is there. In addition, there's also a flat box that comes, so you just fold all those score lines, use your extra sticky tape to secure those corners, and this is going to fit perfectly in it so that you have something to mail. And that's always a question when you have a box. Now just let me show you. Whoops. This will come with, this is the card. So the card that's on the inside, you can see, and it's printed on both sides, so it's very finished looking. And then you're going to get a cutout which becomes the center area that goes on the top of the card, and then this box that also is scored and folded to fit perfectly on top. Just a very neat way to do it. Now, I didn't finish adding any of the greetings. I just did this part, and then I did do one on the inside, but there's lots that you can add to it and make those all perfectly yours. So I think you can see that our Violet Delights has so many things going for it. A beautiful artwork, but also, in addition to the Violet Delights luxury card collection. Now, they say you can make 16 cards. Really, I know you can make far more with it because you always can. We've got the Adorable Scorable, we've got the inserts, we have that gorgeous foiled acetate, we have the 6x6, and we also have the concept card. And wow, we're just full of violets, aren't we, this time? Thank you so much for watching us. I want to be sure to remind you that over on the right-hand side of your screen, you're going to see a money saver that if you want to buy the collection, you can get some savings. Those of you on YouTube, please head on over to paperwishes.com, check out the measurements in the gallery, take advantage of that money saver, and sign up to get our emails. We'd love to connect with you and show you all the exclusive things like Hunky Dory that Paper Wishes has to offer. Thank you for joining us, and as always, thank you for being the best part of Paper Wishes.